Hey everyone, we are Group 1 comprising of Maria Charlotte Domingo, Karamwant Kaur, Manpreet Kaur, Katrina Marie Ocampo, Suthar, Shivani Power, and yours truly, Diammond Anastacio. We will be presenting our research entitled The Distinct Manifestation and Prevalence of ALS or Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis. As a newcomer in Canada, curiosity generates a question whether cold climate is associated with a trend used last 2014, which is the Ice Bucket Challenge. Canada is known for a cold environment and long periods of winter, and it is also interesting that the famous people like Lou Gehrig, who is a famous baseball player, and Stephen Hawking, who is a famous scientist, got this illness. What are the key learnings here? There are 4 key learnings at the end of this presentation. First, we will increase awareness and recognition of ALS. Second, we will know the difference of ALS from MS, which is often used interchangeably. Third is gain theoretical knowledge for experiential lifelong learning. Fourth is advocate and campaign for increased awareness of ALS. And we will go over a short skit of 2 personal support workers who wants to clear information about this chronic condition.
At the nurse's station,
I have this patient who has ALS and he had first hallmark symptoms of muscle weakness, trouble speaking or dysarthria, and difficulty of swallowing or dysphagia. How about you, Dave?
You know what? My patient has MS with the first hallmark of signs and symptoms of paresthesia, numbness, tingling in extremities, and change in vision. Thank you.
So let us discuss this scenario with our colleagues in peer coaching along with the other interprofessional healthcare. Okay, let's go! Before the peer discussion, I would like to share an inspiring story from my patient. I received a letter from him. He's a 38-year-old male patient R. He's a very good father to his only daughter. He usually picks her up from school and treats her as his own girl. Until one day, he thought he just had a sprain in his right leg. He thought of buying a pair of socks and shoes to alleviate this, but there's no progress. He can even do simple tasks of buttoning his own shirt or turning a key in lock. He took anti-inflammatory drugs, but still his weakness progresses. It now affects his arm, leg, neck, and diaphragm. He also now has slurred speech and difficulty of swallowing. As the disease progresses, it became more obvious and people noticed he had shrinkage of his muscles or atrophy. He often stumbled while walking, and they also noticed muscle twitching or fasciculation and cramps. So finally he had extreme weakness and blurred vision that results to his confinement here. Let us discuss more of ALS with our peer group.
Thanks, Diammond. I read from ALS Canada research that amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is also called Lou Gehrig's disease, or motor neuron disease gradually affects the lateral nerve cells in spinal cord. As nerve cells die, the muscle receives no nourishment, resulting to inability to walk, talk, eat, swallow, and eventually breathe. This is a very difficult situation, and I can't imagine myself having this kind of illness. The similarities are both cause carrying of the covering of nerve fibers, but the process is different. I believe Dr. Karamwant, who is a neurologist, could help us learn more about the major difference between ALS and MS.
Thanks, Dr. Charlotte. I often encountered this patient and helpline news stress their variations. ALS affects the motor neuron, which affects physical abilities, whereas MS affects the brain and spinal cord as well. That causes cognitive impairment in the body of the patient. ALS are predominant in men and MS is very common in women. ALS is not yet proven to be autoimmune disease unlike MS. Do you think this is predominant to make here in Canada? And what are the predisposing and precipitating factors of ALS? Could you share your thoughts, Dr. Katrina Ocampo? Thank you so much.
According to ALS Society Canada, approximately 2,500 to 3,000 Canadians over the age of 80 are affected by the disease, which strikes between the ages of 40 and 60. The prevalence of this disease is 1.5-fold higher among males than among females. The predisposing factors can be divided into familial and sporadic factors. Family-related ALS is caused by genetics, whereas sporadic ALS is caused by a combination of genetics and environmental factors. As a result, heredity, age, and sex were predisposing risk factors. In contrast, precipitating factors include smoking, exposure to lead or other unknown substances, as well as military services whose causes is unidentified. In cold climates, physical mobility is exaggerated, resulting in a greater degree of stiffness and weakness. Is there a cure for ALS? Is there a reason why the ice bucket challenge exists? Would you mind sharing more about this, Nurse Mansi?
Hello, I'm Mansi, Suthar, a nurse. Yeah, actually, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis has no cure, but still for continuous research as evidenced by ALS Canada update, where they launch Capture ALS, that means comprehensive analysis platform to understand, remedy and eliminate. Actually, ALS was named after Gehrig, a famous baseball player with ALS, who first confidently talked about ALS, resulting to acknowledgement of its existence. Ice bucket challenge was also a trend in social media, which represent the frozen sensation they felt from moving. I think there are also some supporting measures that we could do, right? Dr. Silvana, our psychiatrist, can you share the supporting measures for ALS? Thank you.
Are the supportive measures which encourages everyone to unify and recognize that it is also valuable as much as COVID-19. We do not need to have ALS to raise awareness. We could perform health education. This is a part of advocating partnership and understanding on their hard journey. Diseases and viruses brought fear, but being grateful to simple things in life is still learning to remember. How can we diagnose amyotrophic lateral sclerosis? Let us hear from a laboratory technician, Manpreet.
There is no single test that can diagnose ALS. It takes variety of exams, tests, scans to figure out whatever you have ALS or something. ALS Canada stated that any or all of these tests may be used to help diagnose it. It includes blood and urine studies, NCV and EMG, and the other one is MRI and muscle and nerve finding tests. This means nurse and other healthcare providers must promote their quality of life. I wonder if ALS associated with the social determinants of health. Please tell me your thoughts, Simon.
Thanks, Manpreet. As a personal support worker, I think the major social determinants associated with ALS were first, in common social status employment and working conditions, education and literacy, physical environment, social support, and coping skills. Healthy behaviors to also have the access to health services, biology and genetic endowment, gender, race, or racism. According to my research from the journal From Neurology, there is a higher rate of ALS among white versus the non-Hispanic blacks, Hispanics, and non-Hispanic other races was not counted for by multiple measures of socioeconomic status, birthplace, or type of health insurance. This means that there is a higher risk of ALS for whites that contribute to ethnicity and social economic factor is involved, as ALS symptoms may lead to unemployment or lower income that leads to poor access to health services in an unhealthy environment. Their physiological symptoms affect their healthy behavior. For example, if the client has difficulty swallowing, it does not allow them to have proper food, which may lead to poor insecurity, and their lack of self-esteem may lead to poor social skills that may lead to lack of social community context, healthy physical environment, and if not supported, may also cause a lack of education and literacy of some support groups. What are the support groups for ALS, Dr. Charlotte?
We know that experiences of discrimination, racism, and historical trauma are important social determinants of health for certain groups such as Indigenous people, LGBTQ, and Black Canadians. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, ALS support groups are operating virtually here in Ontario. The ALS Society in the Ontario region, particularly for Hamilton, Niagara, Haldimand, Brant, and Halton, offers supports for those with ALS and their caregivers, including support groups. They also offer the following: loan equipment program, fund assistance programs for some leased and rented equipment, flexible funding program for small bathroom equipment, a physical therapist, occupational therapist, or allied professional needs to complete forms to access these programs. You could also contact them through visiting the main website, which is www.als.ca, or you can call 1-800-267-4275.
Thanks for the information, Dr. Charlotte. This means that all of us here are included in the interdisciplinary team of ALS and MS. We are composed of nurses, neurologists, psychiatrists, physical therapists, lab technicians, psychologists, and unregulated healthcare providers such as personal support worker and caregiver. Looking through the lens of these people with ALS would promote knowledge, understanding, and lifelong learning. We should increase awareness and unify, as ALS or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is also valuable as much as COVID-19. Let us be advocates and partners of health. Let us continuously learn, live, and be partners in promoting the quality of life. Here is the inspirational famous quotes from Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking's speech in New York Times: "I don't have much positive to say about motor neuron disease, but it taught me not to pity myself because others were worse off and to get on with what I still could do." Our group realization is: this statement taught us, Group 1, that life is beautiful and flaws made us unique in different special ways. So we must be kind and be partners in promoting quality life to our clients. Here is the interdisciplinary team for ALS Group 1. Yours truly, Diammond Anastacio, is the PSW, narrator, and editor. Maria Charlotte Domingo is the physical therapist or psychologist.
Katrina Ocampo is a psychiatrist. Karamwant Kaur is a neurologist. Manpreet Kaur is a laboratory technician. Mansibahen Suthar is the nurse. And Shivani Power is a psychiatrist. Special thanks to our guest PSW in the short skit, Mr. Dave Obligor. Group 1 CDM 205 would also like to thank our professor, Ms. Silvana Salerno. Our references are